One of the most common things I see in groups that I join is that there's people talking about God. Hi, I'm Scott Smith. I'm a Jungian author, a Jungian life coach, and I have experience in IT and technical writing. The author of 2 books, one of which is being written right now. This is nice ditch. So God is something that I learned about in church when I went to the Episcopalian Church in California in Central Valley. And those kinds of churches are not very literal minded, they're very symbolic. And so they would talk about God as a concept and God as a symbol of love and whatever's inside of you. And later on, I came to know Jungian psychology, and Carl Jung was very specific. And of course, he doesn't think of God as something that's up in heaven or anything like that. He talks about God as something that is a pattern of thought. And so I have kind of learned over the years that that's the most accurate way to look at God. God is not, and let me say some things that are kind of specific. Atheists don't believe in God, and that cannot be right because God is a pattern that is found in all cultures. And so God is something real. It's just that it's a pattern of thought. People who believe that God is pantheists, who believe that God is in the universe and in nature, are also probably wrong because there's no proof that God is anything except a pattern of thought inside of human beings. As soon as you step outside of the human being, you don't really find any evidence of God. You just find nature. And now it is true that we are a product of nature and that human beings do have a pattern of God within us. So you could say that nature created us and therefore there is something about God in nature itself, but that is very limited to the earth itself. People who talk about God in the sky, there's simply no, it's kind of like talking about aliens. There's just no actual proof that that God actually is anywhere else, or that it's anything else other than a pattern of thought. And so what you see is, what are these patterns of thought? Patterns of thought um, manifest differently in different cultures. And so you have the monoistic God of the West and Judaism and Christianity. You have the God, the God of nature, which is the pantheist God. You've got the gods of various, Eastern religions, and even the Buddhist, which doesn't even have a God and just says that we are we ourselves. I have to personally tell you that as an older person, I've kind of come to the conclusion that the Buddhists are probably right. They're really, we are manifestations of God, because God is a pattern within us. People who didn't have God didn't make it. And so the human beings that live now have the potential of thoughts of God in them. And so people have very strong ideas about God, but the basic idea is that God is something that is a pattern of thought. People who are lost in the forest and get abandoned out there and somehow live for years in the woods with no predisposition or training come up with ideas about God. And it's been proven over and over and again. And Jung came up with the theory that, sure, that's right. People just have a tendency to think of God, and it's something to do with the wholeness of the human being and the patterns of survival. People who don't have a divine inner self to guide them don't seem to do very well, and it's nothing mystical. It's not God coming down from the sky, because we haven't found God in the sky. We haven't found God anywhere except in our thoughts. And that's a good, sensible way to think about God.